Today we're tackling this MCM chest of drawers that I've had sitting in my garage for over 2 years now. I got this piece for free. It's in okay condition. The top is laminate, of course. The sides, I believe, are walnut. The drawer fronts, they're in pretty good condition, not horrible. There's some of the trim missing. It's really dirty because it's been outside. It's got beautiful legs. They're not in great condition, but this is our project. First thing is prep work. So I take all the drawers out and I mark them, just so I don't get them mixed up down the line. Then I want to thoroughly clean the piece. And for this, I'm using Dixie Belle's White Lightning Cleaner. I love this cleaner. It's really easy to mix up. It lasts a super long time, and it has some TSP in it with some other cleaning properties, so it just works really good. And I make sure that I even clean the inside of those cubbies. Look at how dirty the cubbies are. There's still some grime that I can't get out, or it might be stain. I'm not really sure, but I'm gonna call it grime because it looks grimy. So I use my carbide scraper for this. I don't usually use my carbide scraper because it makes this horrible noise when you scrape. It reminds me of when you put your nails against the chalkboard. So that's the only reason I don't use it for like stripping off a finish, but it's a great little tool to have. I'm removing the legs and the little front board here because I want to refinish them, and I think it'll be way easier and it'll look much more professional if I just take it apart. And it's no problem because it'll all go right back together once I'm done. I'm going to use Dixie Belle's No Paint Gel Stain in Walnut over the existing finish. The drawer fronts are in really great condition. There's no scratches or gouges. There's absolutely no point in sanding them. If I did that, I'm just making unnecessary work for myself. Gel stain doesn't heavily penetrate the wood, it actually just sits on top of it. So it's like it has a brand new finish over the existing finish. And I add 2 coats. I wait 2 hours in between the coats, and then I just leave them. I don't even have to seal them. And they look shiny and rejuvenated, and it looks it looks brand new actually. If they had scratches and gouges, then of course I would have sanded it off, till it was flush, but I don't need to. And my dog, I think he thought it was a pup cup, so I just shoot him away. Have you ever heard of the product Restore a Finish? I've used it on one of my videos in the past. It's a great product, but it's not a permanent solution. This is a permanent solution. This doesn't dull. It doesn't, everything dulls after wear and tear and use in 10 years, but you know what I mean? Like, it's going to stay this way for a very long time after I'm done. It doesn't just, the gel stain doesn't go away after a couple weeks. Restore a Finish, it actually, even after you apply it, it kind of dulls down. So this is a great solution. Like, I'm not even sanding these legs, I'm just adding the gel stain, and it's gonna make it look brand new. Now I'm using Dixie Belle's mud to patch up any of the imperfections in the veneer. And I'm going to use my Dixie Belle mud. I'm going to make a really thin layer over the missing trim here. Somebody down the line who wants to refinish this and restore it and add veneer trim can totally do that. Everything that we do on furniture most of the time it can all be refinished again. So, when people are like, you ruined it, it's kind of ridiculous. Nobody ruined anything. Everything's fine. Everything can be refinished over and over. So once the Dixie Belle mud is dry, I go over it with my 220 grit and I make sure that I sand it so that it's nice and smooth and everything is flush. This is the most important part because if you don't sand it smooth, then it's not going to feel like veneer under there. You're going to have like a chunky finish. So just sand it nice and smooth with a high grit. And now for the top, since the top is not wood and it's laminate, we're going to use Dixie Belle's Slick Stick. This is an adhesive primer. The paint I would use, it won't stick to the laminate. It'll peel or you can scratch it and it would come up. So I need to use an adhesive primer. I really like this one and I'm using my roller to apply it so that I don't have crazy brush strokes because like I always say, however you prime your piece, you're going to be able to see that through your paint. So if you have yucky brush strokes or big lines in your primer, you're going to have them when you apply your paint. Now for the rest of the piece, since this is walnut veneer, I know it's going to be a bleeder. It's going to have tannins. So I actually end up applying 4 coats of Dixie Belle's Boss. You can see after 2 coats, I don't know if you can see it, but there's little specks of yellow and the tannins are coming through. And walnut is known as a bleeder, so I had expected this, so 4 pretty thick coats of the Boss. The Boss is a water-based primer. You could use bin, shellac. Zinsser's bin has shellac in it, or you can just use regular shellac, which are super great primers. But for this piece, I'm using Boss because that's what I have. I'm actually out of my other ones. I would have only needed 2 coats of the other ones with the shellac in it. So now for the paint color, I'm using Stormy Seas. It is like this gray, green, blue color. I don't know. It's just, for me, it's really, I always wanted to use this color on an MCM piece. I don't know. That's how I always saw it. It's a very, I don't want to call it handsome. I don't know. It's a really nice color. And I had 2 coats of this and I'm rolling it on. I'm using my water mister while I'm rolling it to avoid the brush strokes. And when you're rolling, it'll spill over the sides. So if you don't catch that really quick and flatten it out, it's gonna dry just like that, and it's gonna be uneven. You're not gonna have a flat finish. So be really careful of that. I just wanted to point that out. So when you're looking at this after the first coat, you might think, oh, you have all of these like spongy marks from the roller, but I don't. This paint's self-leveling. So that's just because it's the first coat and it's not fully covered. But adding my water mister with the chalk mineral paint and then using the roller, once it's fully dry and after like 2 hours, it's self-leveled. So you don't see the sponge marks. It ends up nice and flat. And you could also take a 220 grit sanding pad or even higher than that and, just kind of go over your piece lightly after each coat, and that'll make it super smooth. Now, if after a month this piece hasn't sold, I will definitely be painting it black. I know that MCM, the wood with the black, is just so popular. So I didn't want to do it black for this. I really wanted to see how the Stormy Seas was going to end up, but I am a furniture flipper at heart. I have no problem painting over a finish just to get it moving, to get it sold. I have no problem negotiating my prices. I love flipping. I love the whole game of it. So I'll do what I can to get the piece sold. That way it's not sitting in my house for too long. I get to move on to the next pieces. Especially now, I'll have holiday money. I like to keep things going and quick. and getting them sold as soon as possible. To seal the entire piece, I'm using Dixie Belle's Clear Coat in satin, and I'm going to do that with my sprayer. I add 4 coats of the sealer. If I was painting it on, I would probably only need 2 coats, but since the sprayer, it goes on so light, I do 4 coats. Here's a reminder of what we had to start with. And here it is today. I love the finish on this, and I especially love the drawer fronts. Well, I especially love the fact that I didn't have to sand them to get this finish. Let me know what you think down in the comments, and I will see you next time with another furniture makeover.